Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on what's the day? January 15th, 1/5/2025. And, there's some kind of big online conference going on, a lot of presentations for recruiters. And so I'm guessing that the people who might attend here are mainly going there. Okay. So we might not have anybody here today. So I'm going to start off by just chatting about a few things that interest me. I try to be like Rich, who's on the show fairly regularly. So I don't always shave. And I'm not sure that's working for me. He doesn't care about his background. So I don't care about my background. And, he talks to people in a very frank way. Tommy, what I'm saying is that, I try to be a bit like Rich. And I don't know, it's a different context. If I don't shave, if I talk to people, if I say, are you fucking crazy? If I don't care about my background, it doesn't go over as well as it does with Rich. I've noticed that when I try to do things that other people do, complimenting people, all these ways to soften them up and make them like you, it never works for me. Have you ever seen what's, hey, this is what you should do, and you tried it yourself and it didn't work? Or did it work? Or did it work? Okay, that's a lot of
good question. You kind of caught me off guard with that question because I came in late.
Okay, hold on a second. You challenged me why I named this show. I didn't tell anybody yet, but I gave a title to this show, Knocking on Heaven's Door. It's because if anybody comes, they get to talk to the gods of recruiting. Okay, it's like heaven. Okay, that was my explanation. Is that okay?
So whenever I hear knocking on heaven's door, that means like you have one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel.
Well, it doesn't mean it in my world, okay? Gee whiz. I happen to be listening to that song this morning, okay? So
okay.
There you go. Okay, so you don't copy anybody. That's my guess.
No, I do. It was, like I said, you kind of caught me off guard, and I'm trying to think like who do I emulate or who do I copy? And I mean, I don't think it's anything that would be considered controversial or out of the ordinary, I guess.
That's not what I'm asking. Well, tell me, what have you copied in your style from what other people do?
I mean, a lot of like how Finkel approaches stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you like him, and
ways that I talk to people, I use the mirroring technique and stuff like that. So a lot of that is stuff that I've copied from other people that have worked very well.
Let's stop there for a sec. Mirroring. Chris Voss, the famous FBI negotiator. Okay, now Martin Snyder pointed out to me, Chris Voss is, you can sneeze, I can,
that was a cough.
Sneeze as hard as you like, okay? Martin Snyder from the ATS guy, he said that Chris Voss is in a special kind of negotiation. He's dealing with hostage takers, criminals, right? In a very contained situation. That kind of context is not necessarily good for our context. What do you think about that?
I would disagree, because the idea of the mirroring is to try to get an immediate kind of like bond or general, make them feel good about you.
Let me back up a bit. How do you mirror? Because Chris Voss does it. I wanted to talk about it later. A special way. Go ahead and sneeze. You're making me nervous. Okay.
No, I'm thinking now. Okay, so how I mirror is this.
No, let me get mine out. It's easy. Okay. He only mirrors like the last three words, or maybe even one of those last. He doesn't say the whole thing. A long feedback. It's just the last three words. What do you think of that?
That's not what I do. So if I'm talking to people in New York, I talk like this. And hey, how you doing today? My name's Tom Alaccio. I'm a headhunter. I specialize in structural engineering. And then when I'm talking to people in Alabama, I slow things down a little bit, and I'll say things like, well, I'm fixing to start this search. And then if I'm in Texas, it's a little bit more of a kind of like, hey, how y'all doing? but I still have, especially Dallas, you're going to talk more cityish with some alls and draws thrown in there, right? So that's how I mirror, right? And then I also use some of the techniques of instant camaraderie, right? So if I look at a person's LinkedIn profile, and I use this all the time, and I sound like a broken record, rugby. If they play rugby, I immediately tell them I'm a hooker. That comes up in the first 3 minutes of the conversation, and it's an immediate icebreaker that derails the conversation away from I'm happy where I'm at or whatever into, oh hell yeah, I played for this guy, and all of a sudden that goes away. So those are things that I've learned that I've taken from other people that have made me successful in what I do.
Okay, how many people play rugby? Come on, that's an
I
odd.
said I mean I can use it with fishing. I can use it with sports and I use it in stuff that I don't care about. Like for example, if they are at Auburn, I'll say something like, "Oh God, I can't talk to you. I only talk to Clemson graduates," right? And they laugh, right? Like you're trying to elicit something out of them that they are comfortable with to make them realize you're not just, "Hey, I want to get you for a job," right? That you actually have a personality and you're a real person.
I have an intuition as soon as you're saying that, and this is a common reference point of reference for me, is that if you're already bubbly, you can throw out stuff and it seems like fun. Like if I said those things, they would fall flat like a lead weight. I just got to tell you, they would seem so phony. Okay. Now,
why? How would you approach a candidate? Like, what is your demeanor when you call someone on the phone?
Argos, to the Toronto Argonauts, a local football team, and when there's a chant, they Argos.
Okay, so if you saw someone was a diehard Argonauts fan, if that's a thing, you wouldn't somehow incorporate that into the initial conversation, because I would
fool myself if we started a conversation.
I would kind of be like, what the hell's an Argonaut?
Yeah, but you're not a local.
That's what I would say. Like if I saw that on his profile and I didn't know what it was, like, what the
Argos.
Yeah, or you could say like, hey, hey, Animal, this is Tom Alascio. I know it's early. It's 9:00 on Wednesday, and you're probably hungover from the Argonauts game last night. But do you have a second to talk? Right? Like, what? How come you couldn't do that?
Okay, well, no, it wouldn't work for me. I mean, it would sound like I'm kissing ass or something like that. I'm just not good at that.
Yeah, well, you are kissing ass. Right? That's our job, man.
If they were interested in stuff, I don't know how I'd find that on their LinkedIn or whatever that I'm interested in. Like if they've done their family history or something like that, which I did, maybe I could help.
No, it's not what you're interested in. It's what they're interested in.
No, it's what I'm interested in, because then I can speak in a lively way like you do, okay?
No, there's a lot of stuff. I do not watch sports. I do not care about American football.
Oh, really?
The Ravens is our local team. I know they won. I get all my information from my son-in-law. So if someone asks me tomorrow, hey, how about those Ravens? I'm like, hell yeah, what a great game. We're going to Buffalo now, right? I don't care. I don't care what happens. But I know enough to talk intelligently about it so I can connect with someone on that level. Above and beyond just about a job, just about what I'm doing.
Okay, I can move on. I wanted to find that negotiation topic, though. Here's a question, though. Monday morning start dates. This guy says, I think it's Rob White. He says, don't have a start date Monday morning. Everybody's too busy to take good care of your candidate. Or make it at 10 a.m. Once people get in, they're doing their work, they got settled. Give them a chance to get settled before they have to. You're saying no. Your visuals say no, right?
I mean, you have HR and whatnot that have already handled all the intake stuff. So, I mean, are you telling me you can't schedule as a vice president of sales or whatever it is? You schedule accordingly. On Monday morning, Steve starts at 9 a.m. I got to make sure to welcome him and then set him up and talk to Joe to get all of his computers and stuff.
I guess they're notorious for treating people poorly on their like a piece of furniture and just sidelining them on their first day. Okay. And he's not necessarily a VP of sales, a big shot. So, he may just an individual contributor, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Never happened to you.
I've never had an issue where a candidate said to me,
went in, no desk.
It was horrible. Yeah, I've never had that happen. It's never been an issue.
Okay. Oh, okay. What about this one? this guy, I know him. He's a experienced recruiter. He called up a candidate. The guy said, I'm 100% happy where I am. I'm never going to consider leaving, right? 20 minutes later, a woman in his office, without knowing that her boss had just spoken to that guy, contacted him on LinkedIn, and he said, yeah, I'm actively looking. What happened? Okay.
So a recruiter calls.
You
Animal.
called the guy and he said,
I'm
Tommy,
happy, I'm
no
not leaving,
way.
whatever. And then somebody connected it. Then another recruiter in the same office sent him a message.
The opposite message.
So I guess the question would be, what did the recruiter pitch him on the phone, and what were they talking about, and what did there's not enough information, Animal. I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Right? Maybe he didn't like the guy. Maybe he wasn't a good at small talk and brought up the Argonauts, and he thought, I got to get this guy off the phone, so I'm happy where I'm at. I'm never leaving. I'm retiring here, even though he wasn't, right? Sometimes we don't connect with people. That could be it.
So you really think that could be they're just saying, no, I just don't like this guy. I don't want him representing.
Sometimes you talk to somebody, they're an asshole, and even though you might have been considering looking at an opportunity, again, not enough information, because maybe she had a better opportunity, or maybe what she sent to him was more engaging. There's not enough information.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. Is there any way to prevent your candidate from getting an offer with your client and just using that as a bargaining tool with other opportunities?
Nope. You can try. You can tell you can try and smoke it out. And I bring up all the time, tell me why this opportunity is better than the one you have. And it can't be about money, right? It's all about closing. But if you think that they're going to do that, you can go to your client and go, I don't think you should make him an offer, because I think he's going to use it to leverage a counter offer or leverage it somewhere else. You can do that, or you can do this, but there's really no way to prevent it. If the client wants to make the candidate an offer, they're going to make the candidate an offer. You can't stop that.
No, that's not my point. It's not manipulating or controlling the client. It's controlling the candidate. So first off, this guy said you have to go in and you always have to ask if they're considering positions in another company.
Of course.
Right? Okay, but you told us before that your candidates are almost never considering other positions.
Correct.
But do you ask them that? Do you check on that?
Yeah. Well, okay. So if I got 3 candidates I just recruited yesterday, and I'm setting them up for interviews today. All 3 of them stone cold recruits. One is kind of keeping the feelers out there because they're sick and tired of being hot on hot roofs. So when I called him at the right time. They haven't interviewed anywhere else, but I think he's also, and you've said this before, he sent me his resume now. He's going to be an active candidate. Another recruiter calls him, he's probably going to talk to him.
Yeah.
Right. The 2 women that I talked to both told me they're happy, but this opportunity sounds really good and they'd like to explore it more. Neither of them have resumes, so those I'm not as concerned about as I am with the guy. But every conversation from now on, when Rob's going to interview with Sean, let's say tomorrow, after the interview, when I follow with Rob, like, how'd it go? Good. Hey, by the way, are you interviewing anywhere else? Because they want to bring you in, and I don't want to drag us along and make things slow down. No, I'm not. Okay, good. Next step. After he interviews with Roger, the VP, how'd it go? Oh, I love Roger. It looks like we're going to be moving forward to make an offer. Have you anywhere else? Do you have any opportunities you're looking at before we go down this next road? No, I don't. Okay. Yes, I do. Okay, what are they? Where are they? Then I go back to the client and go, he's got 2 other interviews, man. I'm concerned. What do you want to do?
Okay, there's lots of people, for instance, Jerry, who's a big biller, he'll just say, every time he talks to somebody, he says, has anything changed since the last time we spoke? Yeah. You're saying that's too general. It's not specific.
No, I'm not saying that. No, it's however you want to do it. You can say, has anything changed? Are you telling me I'd like to talk to Jerry, when he says that, he just ends it? Hey, Animal, has anything changed since last time we spoke? No? Okay. And then he moves on? Because I may say, has anything changed last time I spoke? No, it hasn't. Okay, so you're not interviewing, you haven't sent your resume, no recruiter called you? No, okay. Then I would move on. Like,
if you ask a person 2 or 3 times about that, they're going to get offended. What am I here, in a police lineup? You're asking me every time if I'm interviewing somewhere else.
Because I have you interviewing with my client and they want to hire you. And if you're interviewing somewhere else, then we may need to find another candidate because you may take a different job. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just trying to look out for the best interests of both people, you and my client. And if that offends you, fuck off and go find another opportunity.
I'm going to point out. So until you said that last thing, I was going to point out a real positive there, in that when someone, and this I'm sure with Rich as well. I don't know how Donna would react or Dave, but when someone is aggressive with you, you don't mind. You're just bounce back.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
well,
Dude,
why are you asking me
try
this?
to explain people this. We're on the phone. They can't do anything. What are they going to do to you?
No, but there's a reflex, but you don't have that. Your reflex is to go in and attack, not to run, not to be shocked and freeze. I freeze. I got to tell you, I freeze. I'm like one of those deer in the headlight guys when they.
Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, when I was in Florida, I had recruited this guy from a panelized structure company in California, and he told his coworker. The coworker told the boss. The boss freaked out on him, right? And then the boss called me, started yelling at me, right? And I'm on the phone, I'm laughing, and he said something like, "You're not a Christian. Christian would do this." I go, "Well, if you're a Christian, why don't you turn the other cheek then?" Oh man, that set that motherfucker off. But that is our job, Animal. When you're talking to someone on the phone and they say, "I'm happy where I'm at," it's immediate. We don't have any openings. It's immediate. I'm not looking. It's immediate. And if you don't have that for when someone calls up and starts yelling at you or someone pushes back, it's immediate. You have to have those reflexes, because that stuff happens to you not all the time. As much as I hear, "I'm happy where I'm at," I don't get pushback like, "Why are you asking me all these questions?" But nothing phases me that way. You're going to get pushback from me immediately. If you come at me aggressively, I'm coming right back at you.
Okay, so I've just got an idea from what you said. So those are rehearsed rebuttals, okay? That like Steve Finkel style, right? So that's different. So you can actually, since you know exactly, you're kind of canned, you know pretty much what you want to say, you can rehearse those 1,000 times, and they presumably that will change your reflex for that question, okay, or for that issue. But it might be able to change your overall reflexes as well. You're generally much more ready. I'm not sure about this. So you're generally much more ready if somebody says, "Why are you asking me these questions?" You're a person now who doesn't back off, but who comes back with a rebuttal.
Unconscious competence, right? You get to the point where you've just experienced so much stuff, and while it may not be identical to the stuff you hear all the time, it's close enough that allows you to, your body, your brain, to immediately go, boom, I'm going to say this, right? So that's it. And getting back to your point about rehearsing the rebuttals with people who are watching, is when you're recruiting, you know that when you call, if you're recruiting candidates, let's say you're calling candidates, you know they're only going to say a couple things, right? They're not going to say, "I want pepperoni on my pizza." They're not going to say, "I want to go watch a movie." They're going to say, "I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not interested," or "Yes, I'm interested," or whatever, right? That's all you have to be prepared for. So when we talk about rebuttals and everything and doing these cold calls, it's like, there's only a couple things they're going to say. So what are you going to say in return?
Okay, but what I'm interested in, what we just talked about a second ago, is a much more profound change. It's a sort of a personality change to some effect. And it just hit me that might be a way to change your general orientation to other people. If you practice having rebuttals for those narrow questions that you know you can answer, it might make you generally more able to respond to a fight, just like if you were training for self-defense in a bar, a bar fight. You've been in a bar fights before. You were a bartender.
I was a bouncer. I was a bouncer. And a
you were a bouncer. Okay, but you said you rarely had to resort to.
No, I mean, I've been in my, I can count the amount of bar fights I've been on in one hand.
Okay. So. The thing is, everybody, I'm a strong believer that you've got an innate personality, and I hopefully, though, we can transcend it in some situations, overcome it. We'll never be like Tom or Rich in their outgoing manner, but we can perhaps, in this way we've been discussing for the last couple of minutes, change ourselves.
Learn how go to Toastmasters or take a course on stand-up comedy. That'll help you. I read jokes all the time. I watch stand-up comedy, and I take what they're saying and look at how I can apply it to the real world, and learn about the self-deprecating humor and stuff like that. All those things apply to kind of like my personality when I'm talking to people, whether it's at the grocery store or on the phone or wherever. I'm always quick right? I was at the grocery store the other day, and their little machine was broken for the phone number thing, right? And so I go up and I put the thing, and she says, "Oh, can I have your number?" I go, "I'm sorry, I'm married." Right. And it was this older black lady, and she just thought it was hilarious. And she started calling me sweetie and honey. So like, but you have to know your audience too. If I did that to a 14 or a 17-year-old cashier, I would see like a fucking creep. Right. So I wouldn't do it to her. Right. So you gotta think too, when you're doing these things and you're retorting back to people, you gotta look at your audience. It's with everything.
Okay, that was an interesting bit of a conversation for me. Okay, funny we got to go there. Okay, now I posted a very good video. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it on Notebook LM. It's a new free.
Of course you knew I got to, because I commented on it, and then you shared one of my comments.
That's what I'm coming is to your comment. But this guy, I thought not in 9 minutes or 7 minutes, whatever the video was, he did a great job. It's free. It's from Google, Notebook LM. And he said he can take a whole video. You said you can take a 30-minute video on cold calling, throw it in there. Uh-oh. We got Richie Rich coming here. Okay. You can throw it in there and it'll summarize. Can you tell us how you use it in that case?
Yeah, so like I said, there was Carson Fox, who's a great hey, what's up, Rich?
What's up, guys?
Carson Fox, who's a great he does videos on all types of like email marketing and stuff, but he also does every 6 months like a review of all the contact finders, right? So instead of watching the 30-minute video, I just take the URL of the video, I drop it into Notebook and wait till it downloads, and then I started asking the questions. Which one does he recommend for cell phones? How did SalesQL compare? What's lead? There was one called Lead Gorilla. I don't know. There's another one. I started looking into it. It's kind of interesting because you use an API.
Focus on Notebook LM right now.
Wait, hang on. More importantly, let's focus on the answer. Which did it say are the best ones?
You're gonna make me. I have to look it up. It was SalesQL for cell phones.
Really? Shocking.
Okay, so the video, if anyone wants to watch it, it's called "This is the Best Free Tool You Didn't Know You Needed," and the guy's account is Liron Segev, LIRON SEGEV, Liron Segev, the best tool. And I was very impressed. Okay, how does it compare to some of these other ones you guys are always raving about? Okay, Notebook LM.
I get it.
It does different things.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Notebook just does different things than than a Chat GPT or Claude or whatever. But it can make some pretty interesting things with the ability to turn things into podcasts. Like Trish Tamkin, she turns like every class we do into a podcast on Notebook LM, and it's pretty cool what it can do. Plus, you can do the outlines and things. You got to be creative, but it's good.
So I just asked it, and I can't find what bums me is it didn't keep my old notes.
Interesting.
I got to tell you something. I went to Gemini today, and I said I'm looking for the best cover version of Bob Dylan's Hurricane. Okay, so it gave me Bruce Springsteen and Johnny Cash, but Bruce Springsteen sang a song in a benefit for Hurricane Sandy. Okay, it had nothing to do with a
Did
cover.
You put the song in quotes. You got to put the song in the quotes.
It's one word, hurricane. I had to put it in quotes.
Yeah.
What
was your question? What are the best cover versions? What are the best
of Bob Dylan's song Hurricane? And they gave me Johnny Cash. It was a different song called Hurricane, and it was AI generated as well. He didn't sing it. Okay, so I mean, it's not always correct.
It's not, but Hurricane.
Okay, so anyway, Notebook LM just sounds fantastic.
So Richard said, SalesQL is considered the best overall tool if you need a good amount of both emails and phone numbers. For $120 a month, you get 10,000, and it had a email rate of 66% verified and a cell phone rate of 43% verified.
43% verified. Well, hang on.
Yeah, 60 valid, 43 verified.
So the problem with valid or verified phone numbers is it just means someone picked up or it didn't get a busy signal. Basically, because there's a lot of That's the problem, because there was like Outlook and Outplay rather, and a bunch of other companies now do the phone verification, but it doesn't tell you anything. It just says,
"How's that, Animal?"
Rich, are you still? Is that the contest that you're on still open?
And voting ends the 17th.
Okay, everybody. There is Forbes magazine best recruiters in America. And we want you to vote for Rich. Rich comes here every week and gives free information. He says, I'm making a lot of money and I'm going to tell you how I do it. Okay. And he tells us what's better than that. It's free. Okay. So go just put in Forbes best recruiter list 2025 in Google and you'll get there. There's a little survey and you vote by his company name, cornerstonesearch.com. Do it for me, okay? I would really appreciate it. You know why? As I've said before, if I can get Rich up high into the top 10, I can say, look, come here. This is food for the gods, okay? The top 10 guy is on this show, okay? So Rich has something else. You got a class.
Well,
He does a class.
On the Forbes, you got to vote for professional and executive recruiting. What are the two different categories?
What's the difference between professional and executive?
I don't
Individual contributor.
I don't even know. It's professional level and executive level.
Okay.
Yes.
Tommy has his recruiter roundtable.com. The recruiting roundtable. What's the website?
The recruiter roundtable.
The recruiter roundtable.com.
Like the Ohio State.
Friday, 12:30. It's a deep dive into all kinds of tech stuff. There's more people there.
This Friday's what a
job in this Friday?
applicant tracking or what
Are you doing
HR managers and TA managers want in a recruiting partner.
He had Jobin came and spent 5 hours on the show, apparently, right?
Actually, we have a job in Loxo users meeting on Thursdays at 4:30.
Okay. Now, one of those companies, by the way, a woman said on one of the websites, you might have seen it, she said she gave a bad review to their sourcing tool 4 years ago, and the boss, the owner of that company, threatened to sue her. And she said, I'll never deal with that.
Which company? Loxo?
Loxo, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that too.
What?
Loxo threatened to sue me.
Why? What for?
Because same thing. I made a bad comment about it.
Yeah,
Really?
that's just the stupidest thing in the world because that's not a suable.
No, it's not. It's
An opinion is not defamation.
No.
I don't know why they would do stuff like that.
No,
That's
exactly.
insane. He needs a minder, apparently, or maybe it was a few years ago.
It's I don't know if he's gotten better or not, but whatever. It's not the kind of guy I'd work with. So
Their biggest issue is they've grown too big and they didn't scale properly. They're having customer service issues.
That's all these companies, unfortunately.
Mhm.
They
get big and then all of a sudden IBM starts using them and Google starts using them and they forget about us.
Well, you can't. I mean, the problem is these guys that we think about last week. These guys can't support all the onesie twosie users. It's not cost effective. So
they can in the beginning to get started, but then they forget about us when they're big.
It's like they don't forget, but it's just like you got to think from a business perspective. Are you going to hire someone just to manage, the guy that's paying $100 a month? You're going to pay your guy $60,000 a year, $100,000 a year. I mean, unfortunately, it's just the economy of scale.
Well, that gives word of mouth. He might have to pay that guy, but it's like paying for advertising because you guys are going to give great word of mouth. But
I think, listen, it's frustrating, but I think, smart people understand it. It's like you're not going to get the same service as a $100,000 a month client.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, how many people do you think one customer service rep who's answering stupid questions could service a day? I mean, 30 or 40 of us, and I don't know. These guys seem busy enough. I know Creelit's they increased their support staff, and they're pretty responsive, but it's but some of those questions take longer, and then the first priority is going to the guy that's got a bigger account who's also you can also pay for more service if you want, which I get. I mean, I don't like paying for that stuff, but I understand from a business perspective why. I think part of it too is so many questions that are asked are easy to find if you go to look for them, but in some cases they haven't updated their manuals and stuff. I've said this before. I can give a better demo of Loxo than any other demo guys.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have in Ken. So
yeah,
it's for all these softwares, but yeah, I agree. But also, no one uses it like the user. There's a bunch of these crazy features that no one's ever going to use. But most people care about what's going to get me through the day. And then you're going to eventually have a question about reports and things like that, which, aren't the most used on a daily basis. You just don't have that strength. But it's a cycle, right? They'll become a cyclical kind of group.
Yeah,
They get
the problem is if you want to switch to another ATS, what is it, $4,000 to get that?
Depends on the company, anywhere from 4 to 10 grand for them to
Yeah.
switch the entire amount. And here's the thing. Ernie and I had this conversation. If you want all your notes and all your documents and all your histories and everything that went on with the candidate, yes, it's going to cost you 5, 6, 7, 8 dimes.
But you know what?
If you just want your resumes, it's free.
But this is the thing. That is the most bullshit charge, because you map it all over. And if I'm pulling documents fields from A and it's going to B, whether I have one document or a million, what the hell's the difference? It's really,
once you do the mapping, everything should go.
yeah, it's not, I mean, yeah, it's going to, you're basically renting the server time, so I get it. Charge me $1,000. All right.
That seems reasonable. If you anywhere from 1 to 3,000, the size of your database, and I guess part of it too is they're all built differently.
But my database is 16 gigs in total, right? It's a pretty big database for a solo recruiter, for any recruiter. But it's like, whether you're doing a gig or 16 gigs, the process is the exact same, and you're not manually doing it. You're not washing 16 gigs worth of underwear. I mean, it's just. Is it because Loxo has forms, right? And maybe Crelate doesn't have forms. So where do you put the forms? They have to figure that out, right? And maybe once you've done it for once, you've done it for all of them.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes maybe it'll take, and I have no idea because I don't know any of this shit works. But sometimes I wonder, when you're moving from one to another, if it doesn't have the same features, they have to make the features up or figure out where to put them.
Yeah, that's
take their guys a couple weeks to figure it out.
Yeah, that's different. But for the most part.
Anyway, my point was that once you're in, it's not so easy to move, even if you feel you're not getting.
I've moved 5 times, I've moved 4 or 5 times.
Have you?
Yep. Yeah, this is the longest I've been with the software.
Twice, maybe.
I think I've been with Crelate for 10 years now.
Yeah, I've been with Loxo since 2016.
All right, hey, I'll be right back, guys. I got my son's leaving for college. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll ask you the question that I was going to ask both of you. Okay. It's about. And I think this is more of a Rich question, but you can tell me maybe I'm wrong about that, Tom. This is about how to build long-term relationships as opposed to short-term, what's called transactional relationships. And the key issue is do what's best for the client or candidate, not you. Okay. Understand.
I know you say I stole it because I did, but Zig Ziglar, I think it's Zig. Help everyone around you get what they want, you'll get everything you want. I live by that.
Okay, but this is different. This says do what's best for them, not you. So you might have to tell your candidate, don't take this job. You take that other one.
Or tell your client they got a bad reference, or tell your client you found out they sexually harassed someone, or tell your client that they, they're only doing it. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That it's painful, but you have to do it so many recruiters only worry about the fee, and they will do anything to get that fee. And that's transactional, and that they burn bridges. And that's why they don't have repeat business. The reason I've been working with companies for 20 some plus years is because I do what is right 99.9% of the time.
So Tom, you'll have a candidate that they like, but then they'll tell you about their other candidates that are from another recruiter or another source, right? And you hear candidate number 2 and you say, Bill, I think you should hire number 2. He's better than my candidate. Will you do that? I don't.
Yeah. Again, not in those words. I will say it sounds like he's better. Right now, based on everything we've discussed, who do you like better and which one are you going to go with and why? And then again, it's, hey, if you're looking for someone who can do that, this candidate doesn't have it, so go with him. Right? You have to say that. You cannot. What are you going to say if the candidate's actually better and the candidate's better? What are you going to say? You're going to look like an idiot to try and spin that your candidate's better.
Okay.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. If my candidate's got an EIT,
I actually got business that way. I recruited a sales rep for a company, and I did a lot of reference checks. And I said, you know what? I'm concerned about this issue, and you better think about it before you make the offer. So she hired him. And because I did that, at least I'm pretty sure she referred me to somebody else. Okay. Cause she liked me for that reason, but it's not going to happen all the time. You're going to meet people and you can bend over backwards for them and they won't use you again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Look, I help staff, so many issues can cause problems. And ask Rich the same question, but you can have a great relationship with a company and someone new comes in, you lose everything. It's just part of the game. And what he had asked Rich is ask the question: transactional versus relationship.
Okay, yeah. How to build a long-term relationship versus a short-term transactional relationship. The key issue is do what's best for them, the client or the candidate, not you. So
you always do what's best for your hiring manager.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. The company, I don't care about the company. I care about the hiring manager. That's the guy that's going to take me with them. The company, you get some of these company guys, they're all about protecting the company. They have no interest in a relationship with you. I literally sent this in an email to a hiring manager I'm working with now. And I told him, I'm like, listen, if I don't hear back from you, I'm just going to assume we're done working, because I'm like, it was better written than what I'm going to say. But it was essentially, if you're dumb enough, you're a young manager, if you're dumb enough not to realize you need to be partners with a good recruiter, then you're going to go nowhere. But, there's no point in me working on this search that's taken fucking forever because it's a near impossible search, which is a whole nother story. It's not worth my time. Like, what I put to him, and I said this probably on here before, is having me sell through a gatekeeper, which is their internal recruiter, is as dumb as you expecting your reps to sell through, your client's gatekeeper.
That's a great. I've never thought of that rebuttal. That's a great rebuttal.
Yeah, there's no point.
Do your sales reps sell to the secretary, or do they sell to the purchasing manager?
Well, that's it. I've made a rule which I'm going to try my best to stick with. I already passed on like 4 opportunities yesterday, because if I have to deal with the internal recruiter, not that I won't deal with them, I have no problem working with them as a partner. But if that's the only person I get to talk to in terms of feedback, and not just that first conversation, I need feedback, weekly at least.
Yeah, you need absolute contact with the hiring manager. I'll keep the TA or the HR, whoever, abreast of everything. But if I cannot call that hiring manager whenever I want to say, how did it go? What do you want to do next? Then no. Rich, I'll tell you, I refuse to work.
Yeah. So if they say it flat out, like I always refuse it. But the problem becomes the hiring managers are too busy. Like I literally got in an argument with a guy the other day, not a conversation. I'm like, let me get this straight. You're an RVP. You got five reps. You're looking for a 6th rep. Are you hunting? I mean, are you training people all day? I mean, what exactly are you doing from 8 to 6 during the day that talking to me is going to preclude you from doing your job, when half of your job is actually hiring right now? So if it doesn't work for him, it doesn't work for him. I just find the blunter you are, in a nice way. They may not like it then, but most of them come back and are like, yeah, you're right. I get it.
How long does the conversation last too? I tell them that. I'm going to call you and say, how did things go at Rich? They went great. Do you want to move forward on the next step? What's the next step? Okay, I'll let them know. Any red flags? No? Okay, thanks. Click. That's fucking 2 minutes.
Yeah,
you really don't have time for me?
I need to hear from you, not second and third hand, because if you don't like the person, I got to understand why, and I got to understand, did you miss something that I can clarify? And if you do like the person, great. Let me find more people like that. But just a quick note that says, hey, yes or no, doesn't do it for me. And like you said, it's a 10-second conversation. And I tell these guys all the time, I guarantee I'm way busier than you. I am a commission-only sales guy who works for himself. So I'm running IT, marketing, this, and you may not care, but at the end of the day, this is how I get my stuff done for you. And if it's not important to you, I guess
that's the key. Obviously, my time is not important to you. So why would you want me to spend my time working for you?
Yeah. I mean,
Rich has another rebuttal as well. He says, look, I know everybody sits down once a day by themselves. Okay.
Exactly. if you're lucky twice, it's true.
Okay. But you take lunch, right?
Don't you love that? Don't you love when people are like, oh no, I can't talk. I'm eating. I'm having lunch. I'm like, really?
Listen, you can listen, can't I? This is my favorite. You can listen, can't you?
Yeah. It's like, as soon as they say that, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, honestly, if a candidate tells me that, I'm always like, appreciate it. Thank you for taking yourself off the list. It's fantastic.
I will literally say, I'll say, hey, can you talk where you're at right now? I know I can't. I go, can you listen? Yeah, I can. And I'll give them the pitch, tell them everything. Are you willing to talk to me later about this? Yes, I am. What's your number? And then done. Right? they can hear my entire pitch and never know. They can have their CEO standing over their head and never know what's going on.
Exactly. I mean, that
But you have to be willing to ask it. I know you can't talk where you're at, but can you listen?
people don't want to ever ask the tough question. And
We
you know,
talked about that earlier when you were here. I thought, yeah, you get tough questions, man. You have to ask them.
you got to. And, you know, so everyone tries to get to the yes when, quite frankly, the sooner you get to the no, the better you do.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Like
Like-
no's aren't a bad thing.
Mm-mm.
Those let you know where you stand. Too many people want to do this.
Yep,
if I
exactly.
don't call, they're going to hire them.
Yep. I mean, that's it. I mean, I told a candidate today. He's the top candidate I've got for my search, and I'm like, listen, if you don't call me back, I'm going to assume you're not interested. And you know what? I mean, because it's been like 2 days. I'm like, I got a call like within 30 seconds of that note. I mean, it's just you got to. I'd rather lose today than drag it out a month.
And you're not going to kill a deal that is going to go together.
Yeah.
Right. If the deal's going to go together, there's really nothing you can say that could kill it. Right. If the client likes the candidate and the candidate likes the client and he doesn't call you back and you give him a hard time, he's not going to say, well, I'm not going to work for that company. He's just going to tell you to fuck off and still take the job and you still get your fee. Right. So don't be afraid to ask those questions because you cannot kill a deal.
Yeah. I mean, you really do. If people really want to work together, they're going to work together with or without you. You know, I mean, you can, I mean, there are ways you can fuck it up, you know,
But
you know,
you really have to try hard.
just pushing someone is not going to,
That's what Animal asked me. He says, you know, what if the candidate, because I asked after every call, like, has anything changed? They interviewing anywhere else. So what if they say, oh, what is this, interrogation? I'm like, yeah, it's interrogation, dude. I'm looking out for my client. Right? What's the problem?
I'm like, I mean, it's not a secret you're interviewing other places. You're interviewing here. I have to imagine you're talking to other companies, you know?
And if you are, I want to know so I can let my client know because we may not get you and I got to find somebody else.
I mean, I always tell my candidates too, I'm like, listen, let me know where you're interviewing. I can tell you what I know about the company. If it's a great company, I'll tell you so. If it's not, I'll let you know. And that's how you build trust. And you know what?
That goes back to his question.
Yeah.
You do what's best for the candidate. The candidate says, I'm interviewing at Google and you're Radio Shack. You got to say, man, if you can get that job at Google, take it. This is not a good job.
Yeah. I mean, the end of the day, to that question though, is like, you always do what's better. You know, it's best for everyone. If you're just literally trying to squeeze out the biggest fee, you're going to lose. You're not going to have a long career. You know,
you're going to have burnout and you're going to have you're going to have new clients all the time because no one wants to work with you.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, this job it's all about the money, but it's a relatively selfless job. Like like I said, I talked to this kid yesterday, like at 5 o'clock, this kid cold called me and was so impressive. So if anyone has a job in New York, like I literally I called one of my buddies up and I'm like, listen, I don't know if you got anything. I know he just started at this new company as a CRO. I'm like, I don't know if you got anything, but this kid's going to be awesome. He's absolutely going to be a rock star. And he's like, I can't pay. I'm like, don't care. You can have him for nothing. You know, he's a kid with 3 years experience. Like, I don't like, you know, not even, I don't have those kinds of jobs too often, but whatever, you know what? It's this guy, this hiring manager has been really good to me, helps him out, helps the kid out. He'll never forget it. My buddy won't forget it. And it builds good long-term, grace instead of, you know, screaming around for what would mount to like a $20,000 fee. I could probably get 5 other fees out of it probably.
Okay, let me ask you.
I've done stuff like that too.
You've
Like
gone in the
clients
right
love that.
direction, but let me ask you the question the exact same way it was put to Tom. If you've got a client and says, Rich, I like your candidate, but I've got another person as well. I'm going to tell you about him. See what you think. And that other person's from another source, be it recruiter or a direct approach, whatever. Okay, if the other candidate you think was better than your candidate, would you say hire that other guy?
Yeah, I have done it. I've done it multiple times.
I mean, you're asking us if we're willing to do what's best for our clients and candidates, and then proposing these scenarios like we won't do it. We do that. That's what we do, bro.
He sees it a $20,000 fee. I can't believe it because I know he'll fight for every nickel and other.
Yeah, but you know what? There's fighting for there's a fighting for you got to win. You want to win the war, not just the battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, fighting for every nickel is different. If I did the work, and this is after the fact, it's one thing. If this is me, listen, I don't have anything for a kid. This kid's literally been at this bigger company. He doesn't fit 99% of my clients. Could I work with him and try to get him someplace?
What's he sell?
Software guy. He's a sales guy, software sales guy. But, you know, he's done some really impressive things for a young kid. He's super articulate. He's got the balls to make cold calls. Did some great – he just had a great track record. Could I place him? Probably. Or you know, but I'm not going to go waste time on a $20,000 fee.
Let me interrupt and compliment you. I believe you're not just being calculating and mercenary when you make that referral. You're doing it because you want to help the person. You like it.
I do. Honestly, I literally told my wife, I'm like, hey, I found my daughter's husband. I'm like, he just doesn't make more money, you know? So he was just a genuinely impressively nice young guy who had his shit together. He just needs the chance to blossom, basically. And I mean, literally, I just helped him with his resume. This company I put him in front of is one of the fastest growing companies on the planet right now. So, it helps my buddy out.
And they're going to remember you. They're going to remember you down the road.
Maybe. You never know. You can't count on it. It's always
this guy married the girl that lived across the street from my current house. So he's actually been very good to me. He's helped me out in the past, and I've got no problem returning the favor.
I got one of those clients that wants those people, right? So anytime I come across someone that fits like their personality is that company's, they want to know about them, whether they have opening or not, and they'll try and find a spot for them.
And that's what that's what good recruiters do. And I mean, candidly, some people act like that's all they do. It happens all the time. But good recruiters, you come across, a great person, you call up your client, say, listen, I don't know if you're hiring yet, but this guy's a stud. Obviously, if it's a more senior guy, I'm probably not going to give him to him for free. But it's what good recruiters do and make good matches, and that's how you can make a lot of placements that way. So that's real
this is an off-ball thing. I posted about this a few times. Like there's you can get an AI PC now, and this same guy Liron Segev, Liron Segev on YouTube, he's got a video called "What Can an AI PC Do That Your PC Can't?" And I was blown away how fast that AI PC works. And they're cheap, apparently. In fact, I posted about it a few weeks ago, and I put a note.
It's that
he gives a test. He does a test there. You can't watch it on the show, okay? But you should watch it after.
It's that,
it's pretty interesting.
What the hell is that? Is it that one that's
you guys just put the video with the Notebook LM and it'll tell you.
The one you posted, it was like $400 or something,
No,
or $600.
it was
and all the reviews on it were amazing. I think I send it to you. Rich?
It's an HP Sleek AI PC. It's an absurdly low price.
Yeah, it's cheap and fast, real fast. Now, I don't know if
it's HP. It's not the one I'm thinking of.
Programs. I don't know if it supports every program you have.
It's $549, $550 at Best Buy. Interesting. Okay. Well, so what does it do different? I mean, other than
just a lot faster, like a lot. Amazingly, watch that video. It's only 5 minutes long or 7 minutes.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah, but what? It's faster
just
for what?
Check it out. Right? That's all I'm saying. Check it out.
But there was another one. Did I send that? I see you. I thought I sent one to Rich that you had shared on one of the.
With that Chinese
what
guy.
Was that?
I can't remember which one it was. Okay. Was $249 US, that one. Okay, but let's move on. We'll do the final question. There's 5 minutes left. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My candidate referred someone to my client, and that referral is getting hired. Should I pursue a fee? My contract says that I'm owed a fee if a hire is made directly or indirectly through my efforts. Okay. I have a specific view about that. So would you? Okay, you send in Mary Lou, okay, for an engineering job, and when she's in there talking, or even after she gets hired, or no, while she gives, hey, you're looking for this other job as well. I know somebody, and she gives the name, and they hire that person, and you say, hey, you know what? She came through me. They got that name and that new hire through me. I am owed a fee. Okay, I think that's quite common in recruiter contracts.
I mean, that's No, you're not. No, mine says directly or indirectly, and that means that if the client refers the candidate to a different company, then I'm owed a fee. Just because the candidate refers a person that you have never talked to before, you think you're owed a fee. That's poor on your part for not asking the candidate who else they know and knowing what other positions your client has open. No, there's no fee. No, absolutely not.
Okay, I like that answer, by the way, Tom. I think you're right. But that other position that your client is hiring for, it might not be even on the boards yet. They might just know it in a conversation, right? And it comes up, and boom, there it goes. The other thing is, if you've got a new candidate, you can't say, you know what, this company's also looking for these other people. Do you know anybody? Is that okay to do in a new relationship? Pump them
Yeah.
for-
Yeah. Oh my God. If I'm talking to a candidate and he's a structural engineer, I say, by the way, you're interviewing with XYZ Corp. They need detailers. Do you know any detailers? Why wouldn't you ask that question? You got him set up for an interview. Why wouldn't you ask him that
People
question?
don't like giving referrals from the get-go. Well, actually, once you got them up for an interview, that's different. You're already their buddy, okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, like, when we ask for referrals on somebody, we're not interviewing. This is what I say. I say, hey, Animal, do you know someone not just looking, okay, but someone who would fit this position, has the skill set that I'm looking for? Not just looking, but has that skill set. 5 to 7 years experience. Do you know anybody like that? I'm not
no,
going to tell him you gave me your name.
no, that's the
I'm not gonna-
reflex answer is no,
No,
okay?
you're telling me you're a structural engineer with 5 years experience. You have your EIT. You just got
Well,
your PE.
you're going to struggle with a new person who doesn't even know you. You're going to go start wrestling with them to squeeze some answers out, right?
Yeah. Why not? Again, Animal. If the guy tells me he can't move because his wife is owner of the company or whatever, what do I have to lose by pressing him for answers?
Okay, but my contention is that that this is a personality issue, and maybe, like we suggested at the beginning, maybe you can train yourself out of your personality. But most people, or a lot of people, would not feel comfortable pushing real hard with a stranger for them to give you something.
But again, most people don't feel comfortable cold calling a stranger and pitching them a job.
Okay.
Right? What is the difference between cold calling someone you've never spoken before and saying, hi, I'm Tom Elascio, I'm wonderful and great, you want to interview with my client, or saying to them when they say no, do you know anybody like yourself? And they say no, and they go, wait a second, you're an engineer with 5 years experience, and you have your PE, you don't know any other engineers with PEs that do what you do? I'm not saying somebody who's looking to make a job change.
I have a friend who's a very successful recruiter, and he does exactly what you said. He doesn't let them go. Are you kidding me? You don't know anybody?
You don't know anybody like you. I don't care if they're looking. I want to know, is there anybody like you out of your company? You could do as sales guys. Don't you want me to steal one of your competitors? Don't you want me to mess up one of your competitors? Who are the other 2 sales guys you compete against in your market? If you're selling roofing, who are the other 2 roofing sales guys that sell metal in Dallas?
Okay. Anything else we should talk about? Times at the end. Do you want to?
Nope.
Okay. Let's give the URL for your show again.
www.therecruiterroundtable.com.
Okay, and that's
everything you
where
want there.
that's where they can log into Google Meet, or is that just for watching?
Yeah, the
it on
Google Meet is there. All the past episodes are there. Everything.
Okay, he's got his real coterie there. They're all buddies, but they'll let you come in as well, everybody.
Yes, I do. I do want to say one thing, and I didn't need to cut you off, Animal, is back to what you were talking about how recruiters who keep burning relationships. There's a guy named Steve Fox. I've known him. Guy's 80 years old. He's been recruiting for 50 plus years. Everybody would say this is the hardest. Every search this guy did, the hiring manager would be like, yeah, he filled a position, but God, I was worn out after that because he was so difficult. He pushed and did everything to make the deals happen and would drive the hiring managers crazy. He did not get a lot of repeat business. He did big numbers, but man, did he drive a lot of people away.
That's a good story.
That's a great story. I missed it.
Okay. Well, you'll have to get it next week, Rich, unless you
Oh man, cliffhanger. Good.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks,
See you
Animal.
later.
See you, Tommy.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.